6 months after the Battle of Zephyr Prime, Admiral Park stood in the observation deck of humanity's newest space station, watching ships from dozens of different species arrive for the signing of the Galactic Defense Alliance Treaty. The station orbited Earth, a symbol of humanity's new role in galactic affairs. Ambassador Wu Jinseo walked up beside him, carrying a datapad with the final treaty documents. "Admiral, the representatives from 43 species are here. They're all ready to sign the agreement." Park nodded, still amazed by how much had changed. 6 months ago, most of them wouldn't even talk to us. Now they want us to lead a military alliance. "Well," Seo said with a smile, 4 minutes and 37 seconds can change a lot of minds. The news of humanity's victory over the Thrakari had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Species that had suffered under Thrakari attacks for generations suddenly saw hope. Others, who had been too afraid to fight back, realized that the bullies could be beaten. Captain Kim joined them at the viewing window. She was now Admiral Kim, promoted after the battle, and commanded her own battle group. "The Galactic Council session starts in an hour. Are you ready for the questions they're going to ask?" Park laughed. "After 6 months of hearings, I think I've answered every possible question about why we attacked the Thrakari." The hearings had been difficult. Some of the older galactic species had been angry that humanity had acted without permission. They called it reckless and dangerous. But others, led by the grateful Zephyrians and the surviving Villani, argued that humans had shown exactly the kind of courage the galaxy needed. "Sir," General Kyung-Suk Lee said, walking up to join the group. "Earth Defense Command wants to know if you're satisfied with the final treaty terms." "More than satisfied," Park replied. "The Alliance gives every member species the right and duty to protect innocent people from genocide. No more standing by while monsters kill children." The treaty had taken months to negotiate. The older species wanted strict rules about when military action could be taken. The younger species, led by humanity, wanted the freedom to act quickly when lives were at stake. The final agreement was a compromise, but it was a good one. Journalist Hee-Jin Cho was also on the station, documenting the historic signing for the galactic news networks. She approached the group with her camera crew following behind. "Admiral Park," she said, "can you tell our viewers what this treaty means for the future of galactic civilization?" Park thought carefully about his answer. "It means that good people won't have to face evil alone anymore. When someone like the Thrakari tries to commit genocide, they'll face not just one species, but all the decent species working together. Some critics say that humans have become too powerful too quickly," Cho continued. "How do you respond to that?" "Power isn't dangerous by itself," Park replied. "What matters is how you use it. Humanity will use our power to protect those who can't protect themselves." Through the viewing window, they could see a beautiful sight. Ships from the Zephyrian Republic were docked next to vessels from the Andorian Confederation. Villani hospital ships worked alongside human destroyers. Former enemies were becoming allies, united by shared values rather than fear. Dr. Choi had spent the last 6 months studying the changes in galactic politics. She joined the group with her latest report. "Admiral, the transformation has been remarkable," she said. 17 species have upgraded their military forces using human tactical doctrine. 9 former aggressive species have signed peace treaties with their neighbors. Even some Thrakari colonies have declared independence and asked to join the alliance. "What about the core Thrakari worlds?" Kim asked. "Still refusing to cooperate," Choi replied. "But they're isolated now. No one will trade with them or support their government. General Vrakter has been sentenced to life in prison for war crimes. Most of their military leaders are either dead or in custody." Ambassador Seo checked his watch. "Admiral, it's time. The signing ceremony is about to begin." They made their way to the main conference hall, where representatives from dozens of species were gathered. The room was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes: tall, thin Andromedans, stocky, rock-like granite people, graceful, bird-like sky singers. All of them were here because humanity had shown them that standing up to bullies was possible. Prime Minister Zalman of Zephyr Prime stood at the podium. "Friends," he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the room, "6 months ago my people faced extinction. We had given up hope. Then a small fleet of human ships appeared and reminded us that there are still species willing to fight for what is right." He gestured toward Admiral Park. "The humans could have followed galactic law and watched us die. Instead, they chose to follow a higher law, the law written in the heart of every decent being. They showed us that sometimes you must risk everything to save others. Healer Sana, the old Villani who had spoken to Park months ago, slowly walked to the podium. She was one of only a few thousand Villani left alive, but her voice was strong. "My people are gone," she said sadly. "But their sacrifice was not meaningless if it prevents this from happening to others. Today we make sure that no species will face the Thrakari alone again." One by one, the representatives signed the treaty. Each signature meant that another species was committed to protecting innocent life throughout the galaxy. When the humans signed, the room erupted in applause. Later, as the ceremony ended and the representatives began to leave, Park found himself alone with Kim in the observation deck again. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had followed orders?" Kim asked. "Every day," Park replied. "The Zephyrians would be dead. The Thrakari would still be expanding, and humanity would be known as the species that watched genocide happen and did nothing." "Any regrets?" Park looked out at the stars, where ships from the new alliance were already beginning joint patrols. "None. We came out here to be gardeners of the stars, not conquerors. Sometimes gardeners have to deal with pests." A young ensign approached them with a message. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the frontier. The Corvin Republic is asking for help. Their colonies are being attacked by raiders." Park and Kim looked at each other and smiled. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, but now the good guys had backup. "Tell the Corvins that help is on the way," Park said, "and contact the Alliance fleet. It's time to show some raiders what happens when they pick on peaceful people." As alarms sounded throughout the station, and Alliance ships began moving toward their next mission, Park felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. They had come to the stars as explorers and had become protectors. In a galaxy full of ancient species and old hatreds, humanity had brought something new. The simple idea that decent people should help each other. The age of bullies was ending. The age of heroes had begun. Admiral Kyung-ho Park stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. The Indomitable moved slowly through space, leading 46 other human ships toward the Kepler sector. Park had been in space for 30 years, but he had never seen anything like what waited for them ahead. "Sir, we're getting the first reports from the refugee ships," said Captain Sora Kim, walking up to him with a data pad in her hands. Her face was pale, and Park could see that the news was bad. "Tell me," Park said, taking the pad from her. The numbers made him feel sick. The Villani Republic had been home to 8 billion people just 2 weeks ago. Now fewer than 50,000 had escaped alive. Their beautiful blue and green worlds were now dead rocks floating in space. "The Thrakari didn't just attack military targets," Kim said quietly. "They went after schools first, then hospitals, then anything that moved." Park closed his eyes for a moment. The Villani had been peaceful people who grew food and made art. They had never hurt anyone. Their only crime was living on worlds that the Thrakari Empire wanted. Lieutenant Commander Taemin Lee turned from his station. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Villani refugee ship Hope's Light. They want to speak with you." "Put it on screen," Park ordered. The face that appeared was that of an old Villani female. Her people looked almost human except for their silver hair and large, sad eyes. This one's eyes were filled with pain. "Human Admiral," she said in broken English. "I am Healer Sana. I speak for those who still live. We thank you for coming to see what happened to us." "I'm sorry we couldn't get here sooner," Park replied. "We came as soon as we heard." "The Thrakari told us that no one would help us," Sana continued. "They said the galaxy had forgotten how to fight for what is right. But you came, why?" Park thought about his answer carefully. "Because it was the right thing to do." The old Villani smiled sadly. "Yes, this is what we hoped humans would say. Admiral, the Thrakari move toward the Zephyr system now. 12 billion souls live there, peaceful farmers and artists like we were. The Thrakari will kill them all." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Park looked around at his crew. These men and women had families back on Earth. They had joined the space fleet to explore new worlds and make friends with alien races. They had not signed up to fight wars. Dr. Hana Choi walked onto the bridge carrying her research pad. She was the ship's expert on alien races and had been studying the Thrakari for years. "Admiral, I've been looking at the Thrakari attack patterns," she said. "They have a specific way of fighting. They always target civilians first because they want to break the enemy's spirit. Then they take prisoners to use as slaves. Finally, they strip the planets of all resources." "How many ships do they have?" Park asked. Intelligence says about 300 in the main battle fleet, Choi replied. They're big ships, heavily armed. But they're also slow and old-fashioned in their tactics. Park nodded. The human fleet only had 47 ships, but they were built differently than most alien vessels. Human ships were fast and carried powerful weapons. More importantly, human crews trained constantly for combat. Sir, Lee called out from his station. We're getting reports from the Zephyr system. The Thrakari fleet has arrived there. Put it on the main screen, Park ordered. The image showed space around a beautiful blue world called Zephyr Prime. 12 small alien ships were moving to meet a massive fleet of dark, angular vessels. The Zephyrian Defense Force was brave but completely outmatched. The Zephyrians are asking for help, Lee reported. But galactic law says we can't interfere in conflicts between non-human species. We're supposed to observe only. Park watched as the small Zephyrian ships were destroyed one by one. The Thrakari didn't even slow down. They began moving toward the planet where billions of innocent people waited in terror. Admiral, Kim said softly, Earth Command's orders were very clear. We're here to gather information only. If we attack, humanity could be thrown out of the galactic community. Park knew she was right. Humans were still new to galactic politics. The older alien races saw them as young and reckless. One wrong move could end humanity's dream of joining the galaxy as equals. But as he watched the Thrakari ships begin bombing the cities of Zephyr Prime, Park felt anger burning in his chest. The Thrakari were targeting schools and hospitals just like they had done to the Villani. Sir, we're picking up transmissions from the planet, the communications officer reported. Should I put them through? Yes, Park said. The speakers filled with voices crying for help. Children screaming. Parents calling out the names of their lost families. And underneath it all, the sound of explosions as the Thrakari ships destroyed everything below. Dr. Choi was crying now. Admiral, in 6 hours there won't be anyone left alive on that planet. Park looked around his bridge. Every face showed the same expression: anger, sadness, and the desperate need to do something. These people had joined the space fleet to help others, not to watch them die. Taemin, Park said to his tactical officer. How long would it take our ships to reach the Thrakari fleet? About 40 minutes at maximum speed, sir, Lee replied. But Admiral, I know, Park said. I know what the orders say. Park walked to the center of the bridge and looked up at the image of Zephyr Prime. Bright flashes showed where the Thrakari weapons were hitting the surface. Each flash meant thousands of innocent people dying. Captain Kim, he said finally, call all ship commanders to a video conference. We need to talk. Yes, sir, Kim replied, but her voice showed she knew what Park was thinking. As the faces of his 46 ship commanders appeared on the screen, Park took a deep breath. He was about to make a decision that would change everything. Either humanity would show the galaxy what it meant to stand up for what was right, or they would all be court-martialed for disobeying orders. But as another flash of light appeared on Zephyr Prime's surface, Park knew there was really only one choice to make. The space around Zephyr Prime was filled with the wreckage of Thrakari ships. Pieces of alien metal drifted slowly among the stars, while human vessels moved carefully through the debris field. Admiral Park stood on his bridge, watching his crews work to rescue survivors from the destroyed enemy fleet. Medical teams to Bay 7. Medical Officer Subin Park announced over the ship's communication system. We have Thrakari wounded coming aboard. Captain Kim looked up from her station. Admiral, some of the crew are asking why we're helping enemy soldiers who were just trying to kill civilians. Because that's what separates us from them, Park replied. We fight when we have to, but we don't let people die when we can save them. The main screen showed teams of human Marines moving through damaged Thrakari ships, pulling out injured aliens and bringing them to human medical bays. The Thrakari soldiers looked confused and frightened. They had never seen enemies who tried to save their lives after defeating them. Sir, Lieutenant Commander Lee called out. The Thrakari flagship is requesting permission to speak with you. Their commander wants to understand what happened. Put him through, Park ordered. The reptilian face of General Vraktar appeared on the screen. The Thrakari commander's yellow eyes were wide with shock and confusion. His ship was heavily damaged and smoke was visible behind him. Human Admiral, Vraktar said slowly. My empire has conquered 47 star systems. We have defeated fleets 10 times larger than yours. How did you destroy us so easily? Park studied the alien commander. You want to know the difference between our fleets? Yes, your ships are smaller. Your weapons should be weaker. But you fought like what? Like demons. Like nothing I have ever seen. My officers say you appeared from nowhere and struck everywhere at once. How is this possible? Park leaned forward. General, your people have been bullying peaceful races for decades. You got used to fighting farmers and artists who had never seen real war. You forgot what it looks like when soldiers fight back. But you are young species, Fraktar protested. You have been in space for less than a century. We have been conquering for 1,000 years. That's your second mistake, Park replied. You think age equals wisdom. Humanity may be young in space, but we're very old at war. We spent 10,000 years on Earth learning every possible way to fight. We had to, because we were all trapped on one world together. Dr. Choi stepped into view of the camera. General, humans have fought with swords, spears, guns, tanks, aircraft, and nuclear weapons. We've had wars that lasted for years and battles that ended in minutes. We've learned from every victory and every defeat. Fraktar's face showed he was beginning to understand. You are a warrior species. No, Park said firmly. We are a species that learned to be warriors when we had to be. The difference is that we also learned when to stop fighting. I do not understand. Park gestured toward the medical bay. Your wounded soldiers are being treated by our doctors right now. They're getting the same medical care as our own people. Can you tell me why we would do that? The Thrakari general was quiet for a long moment. No. When we defeat an enemy, we take slaves or we kill everyone. We do not help them. That's why you lost, Captain Kim said, joining the conversation. You think strength means being cruel to those who are weaker than you. Real strength means protecting those who can't protect themselves. Intelligence Officer Hyun-Woo Lim had been monitoring communications from the planet below. Admiral, we're getting reports from Zephyr Prime. The planetary government wants to thank us personally. Put them through, Park ordered. A new face appeared on the screen, a Zephyrian leader with the large, gentle eyes typical of his species. But these eyes were filled with tears of gratitude. Human Admiral, the Zephyrian said, I am Prime Minister Zalman of Zephyr Prime. 12 billion of my people are alive because of your courage. We had given up hope. We thought no one would help us. We couldn't stand by and watch innocent people die, Park replied. Any decent species would have done the same thing. No, Admiral. Many species knew what the Thrakari were doing. None of them acted. Only humans were willing to risk everything to save people they had never met. General Fraktar was listening to this conversation with growing confusion. You attacked my fleet to save aliens? Not for territory or resources? That's right, Park said. We came here because it was the right thing to do. But you gained nothing. You risked your ships and your people for strangers. Chief Petty Officer Soo-Young Kim had been working on damage control throughout the ship. She walked onto the bridge, her uniform dirty from repair work, and looked at the Thrakari general on the screen. Sir, permission to speak? She asked Park. Go ahead, Chief. General, she said to Fraktar, I have a daughter back on Earth. She's 7 years old. When she grows up, I want her to live in a galaxy where good people help each other and bad people get stopped before they can hurt anyone. That's what we gained today. The Thrakari commander stared at her in amazement. You fought a battle that could have killed you. For your daughter's future? For everyone's children's future, Kim replied. Humans, Zephyrian, Villani, and yes, even Thrakari children. Kids deserve to grow up in a galaxy where monsters like you can't hurt them. Fraktar looked around his damaged bridge, then back at the humans on his screen. What happens to us now? To my people? Your soldiers will be treated according to galactic law, Admiral Park said. Those who committed war crimes will face trial. Those who were just following orders will be allowed to return home. Your empire's expansion is over, but your people can choose to live peacefully if they want to. And if we refuse? If we try to rebuild our military? Park's expression became hard as steel. Then we'll come back, and next time, we won't be as gentle. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge quiet except for the sounds of repair crews working throughout the ship. Park looked around at his officers, tired, dirty, but proud of what they had accomplished. Sir, Lee reported from his station. Earth Command is requesting an immediate report on our actions. Park smiled grimly. Tell them we followed the most important order of all, the one written in every human heart. We protected the innocent. As human ships continued rescuing survivors and securing the system, news of the battle was already spreading across the galaxy. In a few hours, every species would know that a small human fleet had defeated the mighty Thrakari Empire in less than 5 minutes. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had arrived as a major power. More importantly, they were about to learn what kind of power humanity intended to be. The human fleet moved through space like wolves hunting prey. Admiral Park watched his ship spread out into attack formation, each one moving exactly where it needed to be. His commanders knew their jobs and their crews were ready. "All ships report ready for combat," Captain Kim announced from her position. "Estimated time to engagement, 37 minutes. Park nodded. "Wing Commander Han, deploy your fighters. I want them in position before the main fleet arrives." "Already on it, Admiral." Han's voice came through the communication system. "My pilots launched 10 minutes ago. They're running silent and will be in attack position in 20 minutes. The fighters were humanity's secret weapon, small, fast, and nearly invisible to most alien sensors. They could get close to enemy ships without being detected. Each fighter carried weapons that could punch holes through the heaviest armor." "Tactical Specialist Kang here," came another voice. "Admiral, I've been studying the Thrakari formation. They're arranged in the traditional battle line, biggest ships in the center, smaller ones on the edges. They're not even scanning for threats. They think they're safe," Dr. Choi observed. "No one has challenged them in 50 years. They've gotten careless." Lieutenant Commander Lee turned from his weapons station. "Admiral, all ship weapons are charged and ready. Railguns loaded with tungsten penetrators, laser batteries at full power, and missile tubes armed." Park smiled grimly. Human weapons were different from what most aliens used. While other races fired energy beams or plasma bolts, humans had perfected the art of throwing very hard objects very fast. A tungsten rod fired at 15% of light speed could punch through almost anything. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're picking up Thrakari communications. They're talking about which parts of the planet to attack next. They're discussing whether to target the schools or the hospitals first." Dr. Choi translated, her face showing disgust. "They think it's funny." The bridge fell silent. Every human there felt the same cold anger. These weren't soldiers fighting other soldiers. These were monsters who enjoyed killing innocent people. "Commander Song," Park called to the destroyer commander, "your ship has the best sensors." "What do you see?" "The Thrakari flagship is in the center of their formation, Admiral. It's huge, maybe 3 times the size of our biggest ship, but it's also slow and not very maneuverable." "Captain O," Park continued, "your heavy cruisers will target their command ships first. Take out their ability to coordinate the fleet." "Understood, Admiral. My gunners are ready to show these aliens what human engineering can do." Park looked at the tactical display. The Thrakari fleet was spread out in a long line, with their biggest ships protected in the center. It was a formation designed to fight other alien fleets that would attack straight on. They had no idea what was about to hit them. "Wing Commander Han, report," Park ordered. "My fighters are in position, Admiral. The enemy hasn't detected us. We're ready to strike on your command. Target their command ships and engines. I want them crippled, not destroyed. Some of them might want to surrender when they see what's happening." "Roger that, Admiral. My pilots understand the difference between enemy soldiers and war criminals." Park took a deep breath. In a few minutes, 47 human ships would attack 300 alien vessels. The odds were terrible, but Park had studied enough military history to know that odds didn't always matter. Surprise, speed, and superior tactics could overcome almost any disadvantage. "All ships, this is Admiral Park," he announced on the fleet communication channel. "In 5 minutes, we will show the galaxy what humans do to those who hurt innocent people. Fight with honor, show mercy to those who surrender, and remember that we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every peaceful species that the Thrakari have terrorized." The responses came back immediately. 46 ship commanders all reported ready for battle. Their crews were trained, their weapons were charged, and their hearts were filled with righteous anger. "Admiral," Lee reported, "we're in weapons range. Wing Commander Han, begin the attack." Space around the Thrakari fleet suddenly filled with explosions as human fighters struck like lightning. The small ships appeared from nowhere, fired their weapons, and disappeared again before the aliens could react. Thrakari command ships shuddered as armor-piercing missiles tore through their hulls. "Multiple enemy ships are losing power," Tactical Specialist Kang reported with satisfaction. "Their formation is starting to break apart. Main fleet, attack," Park ordered. The human ships emerged from FTL Drive at point-blank range, appearing right in the middle of the Thrakari formation. Captain O's heavy cruisers fired their railguns at the closest enemy vessels. Tungsten rods traveling at incredible speed smashed through alien armor like paper. The Thrakari tried to respond, but their big ships were too slow to target the fast-moving human vessels. Their weapons were designed for long-range battles, not close combat. Human ships danced around them, firing precisely aimed shots that disabled engines and weapon systems. Enemy flagship is trying to escape, Commander Song reported. Should I pursue? Negative, Park replied. Let them run. Focus on the ships that are still attacking the planet. The battle that alien military experts expected to last for days was already half over. Human tactics were simply too advanced for the Thrakari to understand. While the aliens tried to form battle lines and trade shots, human ships used hit-and-run tactics that left the enemy confused and helpless. Admiral, Captain Kim said, watching the tactical display with amazement. We've destroyed or disabled over 100 enemy ships. Our casualties are 0. Park wasn't surprised. Human ships were built by people who had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. Every system was designed for maximum effectiveness in combat. More importantly, human crews trained constantly for exactly this kind of fight. Sir, the Thrakari are sending a surrender signal, the communications officer announced. Put their commander on screen, Park ordered. The alien face that appeared was reptilian, with sharp teeth and cold yellow eyes. But now those eyes showed fear and confusion. Human commander, the Thrakari leader said in broken English. We surrender. Your ships are too fast. Your weapons too powerful. We did not know humans could fight like this. You made 2 mistakes, Park replied coldly. First, you thought brutality was the same as strength. Second, you forgot that humanity spent 10,000 years learning to kill each other efficiently before we reached the stars. The difference is we learned when to stop. The alien commander's face showed he didn't understand. You have a choice, Park continued. Surrender your remaining ships and submit to war crimes trials, or continue fighting and be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to decide. Most of the surviving Thrakari ships immediately stopped firing and sent surrender signals, but a few tried to escape or continue the battle. Those ships were eliminated quickly and efficiently by human weapons. In 4 minutes and 37 seconds, the most feared military force in this part of the galaxy had been completely defeated by a smaller human fleet. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The faces of 46 ship commanders filled the main screen on the bridge of the Indomitable. Admiral Park looked at each one, seeing the same mix of anger and frustration he felt himself. These were good people who had spent their lives protecting others. Commander Jin Woo-song of the destroyer Soul's Fury spoke first. Admiral, my crew is ready to fight. We can't just sit here and watch this happen. I agree, said Captain Jae-sung-oh from the heavy cruiser Busan Guardian. My grandmother survived the wars on Earth. She always told me that good people must fight evil no matter the cost. But not everyone agreed. Captain Huan Lee of the science vessel Discovery shook his head. We have our orders, Admiral. If we attack, Earth could be kicked out of the galactic community. Is saving one world worth risking humanity's future in space? It's not just one world, Dr. Choi said, stepping into view. The Thrakari have destroyed 6 species in the last 50 years. If we don't stop them now, they'll keep killing until someone does. Major Yoon Ji-yoon, the Marine Corps commander, had been quiet until now. Admiral, my Marines didn't sign up to watch children die. We came out here to protect people. That's what we do. Chief Engineer Dong-soo Ryu, an old man with gray hair and tired eyes, cleared his throat. I've been in space for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen anything like what the Thrakari do. They don't just kill people, they enjoy it. Park listened to his commanders argue back and forth. Some wanted to follow orders and stay out of the fight. Others wanted to attack immediately. All of them were good officers who cared about doing the right thing. Sir, Lieutenant Commander Lee said quietly, we're getting more transmissions from Zephyr Prime. Put one through, Park ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was soft and scared. It was a young Zephyrian mother, and she was singing to her children. The song was beautiful and sad, a lullaby in a language none of the humans understood, but they could hear the love in her voice as explosions echoed in the background. The singing stopped suddenly. The transmission became static, then silence. The bridge was completely quiet. Every person there knew what had just happened. A mother and her children had died while they watched and did nothing. Commander Song's voice was hard when he spoke again. Admiral, if we don't fight now, we're no better than the aliens who let this happen. But the consequences, Captain Lee started to say. Will you tell that mother's spirit about consequences? Major Yoon interrupted. Will you explain to her children's ghosts why following orders was more important than their lives? Wing Commander Yu Jin Han of the fighter squadrons had been listening from her ship. Admiral, my pilots are ready. We've been training for years to fight enemies of peace. The Thrakari are exactly that. Park closed his eyes and thought about Earth. His own daughter lived there, safe and happy in a world that had finally learned to live in peace. If he disobeyed orders now, she might grow up in a humanity that was alone in the galaxy. But if he followed orders, she would grow up knowing that her father had watched innocent people die and done nothing to help them. Tactical Specialist Minho Kang here, Admiral, came another voice. I've been studying the Thrakari ships. They're big and powerful, but they fight like it's still 1,000 years ago. Our ships are faster and our weapons more accurate. We can hurt them. The odds are still terrible, Captain O pointed out. 300 of their ships against 47 of ours. David beat Goliath with worse odds, Commander Song replied. And David didn't have railguns. Park opened his eyes and looked at the image of Zephyr Prime. More flashes of light showed where the Thrakari were destroying cities. Each flash meant thousands of innocent people dying, while the most powerful military force in this part of space sat and watched. Dr. Choi, Park said, tell me about the Thrakari way of fighting. They use old tactics, Admiral. Big ships in straight lines shooting at each other until someone runs away. They've never fought anyone who uses human military doctrine, which is, hit fast, hit hard, and never give the enemy time to react, Major Yoon answered. Overwhelm them with speed and violence, then show mercy to those who surrender. Park nodded. Human military thinking had been shaped by thousands of years of war on Earth. Every human commander learned about famous battles where smaller forces had defeated larger ones through superior tactics and training, Admiral, Lee called out. The Thrakari have started bombing the planetary capital. Population, 40 million. Park made his decision. All commanders, listen carefully, he said, his voice becoming strong and clear. We came out here to explore the stars and make friends with new species. We found friends and we found enemies. The Thrakari are not just enemies of the Zephyrians or the Villani. They are enemies of everything good in the galaxy. He paused, looking at each face on the screen. Earth Command can court-martial me if they want. History can judge whether I was right or wrong. But I will not watch children burn while I have ships and weapons to stop it. All vessels, prepare for combat. We're going to show the Thrakari what happens when they hurt our friends. The response was immediate. Every commander's face showed relief and determination. These were warriors who had been forced to watch evil triumph. Now they could finally fight back. It's about time, Commander Song said with a grim smile. My crew has been ready since we saw the first refugee ship. Admiral, Captain O added, it's been an honor serving with you. Let's go remind the galaxy what humans are capable of. As the conference ended and the ships began moving toward battle, Park felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He might be ending humanity's peaceful relationship with the galaxy. But some things were more important than politics. Some things were worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The human fleet turned toward Zephyr Prime, where 300 enemy ships waited. In less than an hour, the galaxy would learn what human military doctrine really meant.